What's up, Go enthusiasts? Tonight, or in the morning, in Shin Jinseo's time, KataGo versus Shin Jinseo, game 1 of a best of 3, of a 3-game match, where KataGo gets 2 handicaps. So the beginning of this game is 2 handicap. Shin Jinseo has 5 hours on his clock and 1 30-second Buyomi once it's over. KataGo is going to be playing all of its moves within 20 seconds. Yeah, this is going to be an absolute barn burner game. We have never before seen a full game match between Shin Jinseo and KataGo. Obviously, Shin Jinseo has studied a lot with KataGo. He's very familiar actually with it. I remember seeing some interview with him at a computer, and KataGo was being used, I think, by the commentator, by the interviewer, and by Shin Jinseo. Shin Jinseo is obviously very adept with it. I think he was describing one of his old games, and the interviewer asked a question how would it go if the opponent that you were playing in the World Championship had played here? And Shin Jinseo was like, well, I don't know. Let's play from KataGo. Let's play against KataGo from that position for a little while. And it took 30 moves before Shin Jinseo made any mistake at all against KataGo in this endgame that was just sort of for demonstration of what was going on. It was very impressive. But anyway, what it really showed me is that Shin Jinseo really likes KataGo. He knows his way around KataGo. He studied with it a lot. This is basically student versus teacher. Shin Jinseo learned all of his opening from KataGo, and now he's going to use it to try to beat KataGo. In the match, KataGo obviously completely unaware that this game has stakes, and all the previous games do not. This is, I think, the first game. I think this is really exciting. This is the first game where we have AI versus human, and AI is known, expected, and obviously way better than the human, but we're testing the very best human against AI anyway, just to see what the human can do. It's really not about what the AI can do anymore. I think everybody expects the AI to play basically perfectly, and we're all going to be waiting to see whether our own AIs agree with that AI and what the best opening strategy is for a 2-stone handicap according to KataGo. But what we're really interested in is how well can the best Go player of all time hold up with 2 stones against an extremely strong superhuman Go playing existence. It's actually really interesting. This is, it's basically, this is the first match where it's obviously human versus superhuman. Everybody knows it coming in, and it's not a test of the superhuman anymore. It's a test of the human. So this is very, very cool. So yeah, the opening here, 2-stone game, right? KataGo plays the 4-4, Shin Jinseo plays a 3-4, and KataGo played the 3-space high approach, which you never see. I believe this implies that KataGo has some amount of aggression in this game. There's a training method that they used for KataGo where they would set KataGo, normally it plays against itself, even playouts, and it learns. They played KataGo against itself, not even playouts. One of the KataGos got 400 playouts, and the other KataGo got 70 or something like that. And they learned how to play handicap games by learning how to outplay KataGos with lesser amounts of playouts, and how to outplay KataGos from a winning position with a lesser amount of playouts. The opponent KataGo has a greater amount of playouts. So I think that this KataGo is probably tuned to believe that Shin Jinseo is KataGo with less playouts, which is kind of true. And anyway, that's just my interpretation of the 3-space high approach move. This usually comes when KataGo is more concerned about making the game more interesting. So the reason why KataGo is playing here isn't because it disrespects Shin Jinseo as a human. It's just because it thinks if I have more playouts, I'll use this stone better than my opponent KataGo with less playouts. I think that's the theory. And it's not like it's thinking that. That's what it learned from experience. It's supposed to be how it actually is really working. So Shin Jinseo played in the corner. He played the enclosure. And I was saying, I did look at this game a little bit just before starting to record. I was saying this enclosure in general, if this were human versus human game, we would think that this had beaten the 3-space high approach, because when you think about what white can do after this, either white could invade, which means that this 3-space high approach is getting weaker, and it should in general be a bad direction for white after that, or white could not invade, which means white would like approach or play on the outside. But when white approaches, it's too close to this 3-space high approach, right? Like white can't play here. And if white approaches from the other side, it gives black a very comfortable way to play on the right side. So it seems like white really doesn't have a comfortable follow-up to this in the upper right after black plays the enclosure. I think this is a probably Shin Jinseo, not his first time playing against KataGo, probably an understood response from Shin Jinseo. He's probably seen the 3-space high approach before and decided the small knight's move backing off, this is the best way. As a human, and probably also as an AI, I would be totally unsurprised if this is the blue move to take care of it. Anyway, white decides to approach the bottom left corner. We usually used to see humans deciding to approach 3-4 corners before playing approaches against 4-4 corners, but AI doesn't care, as you see. It's not even just about like a prepared strategy. AI just thinks you can have a 3-4 corner enclosure. As long as I get a double approach on the 4-4, that's fine. It's something. And when black answers, then now white plays the approach, and it played the high approach here, which at first I was a bit surprised by. Normally you see the AIs play low approach, especially when they think they need to come back from a deficit, but the high approach here is synergizing really well with the 3-space high approach in the upper right. So almost every time when you high approach, the opponent is going to play the attach under, pull back. This is a calm, standard, normal Joseki. Nothing has gone crazy here. But the point is that now this 3-space high approach, instead of being marooned in the middle of nowhere, it's helping to build white a large looking territory on the right side. So it's obviously possible for black to come in and invade that. But to do so, black would need to start a fight where he invades and he tries to take care of his group and he tries to attack the white groups. That's what white wants in a handicap game. You want the opponent to start fights, you want to start fights, you want the game to be messy, you want to fight over every square inch of the board, or at least every single point of the board. If you manage to extend the game longer, you have more time to prove that you're the better player. So it should give you more chances to win the game. So it actually makes sense with the 3-space high approach. And KataGo continues with the shoulder hit here. Black just accepts that. And KataGo played this move. So this is a bit surprising because the sort of standard Joseki, even when people do play to jump up from the 3 stones, is to actually play 1 space higher than that. And that's because when you play 1 space lower, white still doesn't have a good move to really go to the bottom side. If you try to knight's move down, you just leave cuts behind you. You don't actually put pressure on the corner. The corner is still going to live even if you get surrounded like that. So it's pretty rare to see the low jump out, 2-space jump out from the high approach, even in situations where you do jump out. But we saw it here. And I think that the reason why KataGo has played like this instead of playing 1 line higher is because KataGo is really trying its best to make the biggest area. So like this is 1 line wider an area over here. And obviously that matters if Shin Jinseo is going to give it to KataGo. So considering the idea that black probably wants, like strategically, it would be nice for black to give all of this territory to white and then get something equal in exchange. Then you wouldn't have to fight over the points, right? KataGo is probably making it harder on Shin Jinseo to do that by making sure that it asks for more than the 2-space jump. That would be 1 space higher than this. So Shin Jinseo plays to just follow up on that shoulder hit that KataGo played. This punishes the bad exchange. And obviously this makes black really thick in the upper right, which is very useful if you are considering to start a fight. I'm sure this one, inviting a fight, Shin Jinseo will think about invading. You aren't allowed to not fight on 2 stones. If you get a 4-stone game against KataGo, you can win by not fighting. If you play a 3-stone game, you can win by only threatening to fight in fights which would be good for you, and then not actually fighting. If you play a 2-stone game against KataGo, you must fight to win. You have to get through a fight to beat KataGo in a 2-stone game. I've never seen anybody win without any single fight. You have to, like, any AI, you have to fight it. So maybe Shin Jinseo is better. Maybe he's different. Maybe he can do it. Certainly when AI plays against AI, sometimes it feels like they didn't fight to win. But yeah, this move, I like it. To punish the shoulder hit is obviously nice. you wouldn't have played this move elsewise. Like basically, it's like M4 for N4 is a good exchange for black, but you would never have played 16 if you weren't punishing that bad exchange. So yeah, white plays in the corner here. The okay, this is an interesting. So first of all, a couple of interesting messages in the chat. Jinseo is getting the equivalent of $32,000 US for every game, and it doubles if he wins. If he wins 2 games, he'll be gifted a 100 grand Hyundai. It's quite sponsored. Yeah, this is going to be a fun match. This is one which, you know, Jinseo has every incentive to try to win. And then also, the asymmetric playout feature is something like the weaker side plays, even given a few extra points per doubling of playouts. So it does provide a modest bias, but not typically whole handicap stones worth. No Leela Night Odds style, anti-human style research yet. Yeah, so what that comment is talking about, the chess scene has some bots that were based on the Leela Zero Go bot. So that's the Leela Zero chess bot. And then they trained those Leela bots to beat humans specifically, like to understand what humans are bad at, and then to exactly try to beat humans. So the Leela Night Odds style that he's talking about is a chess bot where the bot was trained to try to beat humans with night odds, meaning you start the game, the bot doesn't have a knight, but it beats you anyway. And this bot is really, really good. It beats grandmasters with knight odds. But obviously that's research exactly trying to beat humans, which apparently does not exist for KataGo yet. But it's just that KataGo has a little bit of extra aggression. It's not like anti-human aggression. It's just a modest bias. And this is from my experience. Sometimes when you turn this KataGo like aggression stat up, which you can mess with, by the way, it's available to be tuned if you have KataGo. If you turn that aggression stat up, then KataGo will play slightly more aggressive. But in general, KataGo does not play like a human who knows he's better than you and he's going to overplay and he's going to prove it. Like KataGo plays fair, even when given a huge amount of bias. So like in the beginning here, when I'm saying, oh, I think this is a bias move, it doesn't mean that this is a bad move. It just means this is a move intended to not be comfortable for black. Like KataGo is aware that this is a 2-stone game and the game can't just fizzle. So it's going to make things fun. But that doesn't mean it's going to play badly. It never plays badly. It never tries to do something which it thinks is objectively bad in order to make the game more complex. It just tries to make the game more winnable. So, okay, we had KataGo take an enclosure in the upper left. So this is obviously very important after Jinseo played to play the Hane on the top side here. Because after this, then black grew a lot bigger on the top side. If black would have gotten the approach here, it could have been a very, very large, scary area on the top side. So KataGo gets ahead of that by playing the enclosure on the upper left. Then it played the approach here. Sorry, Shin Jinseo played the approach here. That's interesting. Often we don't approach immediately after the opponent makes an enclosure. But it's sort of just habit. There's no reason why not. And I think that directionally, Shin Jinseo is thinking, I want to get into the upper left. I don't want KataGo to be able to challenge another big area. One big area is good enough. But making imbalanced positions is too easy in Go to inflict a fight than chess. Chess is strongly drawish. In Go, the machines don't have to try a very strange move to topple, is the chat. But the question isn't whether the machine is worried about drawing, it's whether it's worried about running out of time before the game ends to come back from a deficit, right? So you only tell KataGo, hey, you should be aggressive if you're behind by this much, and you know you don't want the game to end before you get a chance to come back. Oh, I'm gonna bet. I'm betting on KataGo, by the way. We're about to reach the 50 move mark, but I haven't actually caught up there, so I'm just gonna bet on KataGo blindly. I don't know what the position will be. I wonder how many stones KataGo would lose if it had anxiety of losing. That'd be funny. So, okay. One of the reasons why we don't often approach when white already takes the knight's move back off from your approach is that you can get kicked and pincered like this. This is actually a very basic reason why, and one that you should execute if your opponents are approaching you after you take the 4/4 enclosure, even at double-digit Q level. This is your bread and butter go-to way to punish an opponent who plays like this. Kick and pincer means that black cannot get a base with these 2 stones. And in fact, when white plays the pincer, he played a 3-space pincer, or she played a 3-space pincer, since white unknown should be female. It's a she. So the 3-space pincer leaves a invasion still available here for black. That invasion won't ever happen, probably. You never know, actually. Jinseo could do it, but the main point is that it exists as something that black can use from the outside, but it's difficult to use from the outside. White would commonly be ready to cover. So yeah, this is something for white to cover. Basically, when white plays a slightly large pincer like this, white is more satisfied jumping up. If this was like a 2-space move, when white jumps up, you can't take the left side more thoroughly. But in this case, when white jumps up next, white can take the left side more thoroughly. White can fix that, make it uninvadable by continuing to attack these 2 stones. So I like this spacing, and black should maybe take care of these 2 stones, try not to get them killed, but also sometimes you see black players play rather lightly with them. So he could go AWOL if he wanted. But okay, he's just going to try to play it more, more thickly, more standard. Oh, is pondering on? Did they confirm that pondering is on? Oh dear. KataGo will have infinite time then. If pondering is on, KataGo will have an extremely high quality game. We don't have to worry about KataGo playing too poorly. Okay, so the 2-space jump from black. This is a nice move. It is a common move. Most of the time, we don't like to play 2-space jumps when we're saving a group like this, because the opponent can run up and later force us to spend another move. But in this case, because there's a corner invasion still potentially existing in the upper left, black, if they ever do become under pressure of trying to save the 2-space jump, can just rely on the corner invasion to get more thickness that the 2-space jump wouldn't be cuttable anyway. So it's very difficult for white to ever actually approach this. And so white plays here. White plays away. White is not going to attack this anytime soon. White doesn't even jump up from this side because it isn't close enough or putting enough pressure on these black stones. But in the meantime, this move, this is white trying to say black got really, really thick over here. So if black continues to play passively and just take the corner, these stones of thickness were unnecessary. Black would rather have played further away if black would defend. So KataGo is baiting Shin Jinseo once again. Hey, play against me. Let me into your corner and fight. But Shin Jinseo is unbaited. It's not that bad to have just pushed and Haned here. Even if KataGo is saying, hey, you're a little tiny bit over-concentrated, the way to beat KataGo is to accept that you'll lose a little bit everywhere. But if you don't lose that much, like if you, the amount that he lost here is maybe like, I don't know, half a point or so. That's my judgment. If you lose half a point from the whole opening, you're fine. Everything's fine. just keep going and make sure you don't get killed too bad. Oh, look at this move from KataGo. Oh, I was expecting White to do something to fix this area, but it played fifth line like this. Fifth line means I haven't taken it underneath, but if you want to show me that there's value there, prove it. That's what fifth line means. And humans speak like that all the time, but KataGo often is a little bit either more aggressive or less aggressive. I've rarely seen KataGo play on the fifth line. Like either KataGo will play a passive move fourth line, which clearly looks too small here, or usually what it would do instead is play a wider move, like really try to run out from the sides. But I guess in this case that would give black, since black has basically nothing else to do on the board, it sort of gives black a nice obvious entrance in if you played outside first. So KataGo just tries to cover, and get ready to counterattack if black does continue to fight. But in the meantime, that's a lot of territory. And Shin Jinseo has the board wide open to him. It's kind of hard to pick a move. Maybe he will start a fight in the bottom left. He attaches and invades. So this is the common follow-up to the 2-space. Shin Jinseo is going to play only stuff which he's quite familiar with, so that he doesn't do anything very wrong. Oh, but he does actually start a fight. Never mind. I mean, obviously he's very familiar with this, but this is interesting. Wow. So the most common variation here is actually not what Shin Jinseo did. The most common variation would be to Hane in the corner, connect, let white answer, and then block, and then let white connect. But if you did that in this case, what you'd be getting in the form of a lot of extra potential territory and value to the left side is already reduced by this stone perfectly. So instead he played the extend here. This is not a common variation, but it's equally good of a variation. There's no reason why this is any worse. It's just not something that I recommend you play with in your own games, because when you play there, you can still get some value from the cornerstone, but it can be a bit harder to access. You don't get as much value to the outside, but what you do get is more thickness. And the thickness in general means you're going to do better if you come back to get attacked later. So if white does come back to target this thing, it's going to be nice that you made this exchange so that the cut doesn't worry so much. This is exactly why the 2-space jump was acceptable in the first place. And yeah, black currently is going to hold the chance. He's not going to sacrifice his cornerstone because he's holding the chance to potentially cut or save the corner in the future. And if white would Hane connect and try to kill the stone off further, then it would make this fighting better for black. So black starts the fight. He invades. He's the one who starts the fight. And white plays the descent. So this is obviously better than the Hane connect, which would have given black more free strength exactly where black wants it. White in this case is saying, I punished your corner invasion. That became a bad exchange. And this descend in itself is not that small of a move anyway. So like even if black hadn't done any of this, if he had just invaded right away, white wouldn't descend, but if he did descend, or if she did descend, it wouldn't be that bad of a move. It would be an acceptable move to play the descend because it covers the corner invasion. That is very big, and it gives you a lot of extra movement along the left side. So here, after all of these exchanges, it can only be better to play this extend. This move is certainly not too calm to be human. Like, this is a move that if I were playing in Shin Jinseo, I would also play, and I think most of the 9Ps playing in Shin Jinseo will want to challenge this part rather than to play in this area. This is a place where it's a very clear way to score a gain in the fight to start, which means that you're challenging black. Hey, you have to score a gain back against me. That's actually a very common and good challenge for human play as well. So this is the way that Shin Jinseo has decided to try to challenge that gain back. So yes, he let white get a big corner in the bottom or in the upper left, but he's still thick and he's going to attach here, which looks at starting a fight. And you might think, well, he's trying to build an influence towards the bottom side, but the bottom side isn't too good. He's not trying to build an influence. The point of this variation when you attach is usually to turn back to get the corner territory anyway. This diagonal is the common good move. This is a move that is well known enough that a 10-year-old once played against me. I think they were 10 years old. One of the Chinese insei at their schools was taught this move as the response to the attach on top. And what I was taught is that black then needs to play the block on the outside here. Let's see if Shin Jinseo agrees. Oh, he plays the extend. Oh, the extend is also fine. But I think the block and the outside extend, I think they're both Joseki, common Joseki. And in this case, actually, black is getting the influence. So I lied to you a little bit. Black is going to get the influence and give white the territory, but only because white played this move. If white had played the extend, then black would have blocked and tried to get the territory back. And if white would have done anything else, then black would have tried to come back to Tiger's Mouth or block somehow in the corner and get the territory back. But when white does exactly this one, there is no good way to block the corner territory. No matter what you do, there's no way to finish that, to make it solid. No matter what's attached, there's going to be wedged. There's going to be all sorts of ways for them to fight back in this area against that sort of weak shape from black. You don't have the time to cover your weak shape and cover the corner territory at the same time. So you have to cover your weak shape and allow white into the corner. That is pretty painful. That's a lot of territory. Black blocks here because the bonus is that he did at least prevent white from connecting to that stone. So at least white does have to take care of these stones separately. And the block here means you're going to have to take care of that stone without connecting back and stealing even more territory away from the left side. So, okay, that means that white needs to take care and he runs out, or she runs out. Yeah, that's really fast. Three space knight's move. Very, very large knight's move, as Buduk Doctor would say. That's very, very, very fast. And interesting. The AI plays these moves way more than humans. And it's not because we never saw it and are surprised and we're going to pick it up after this game. It's more because if you play this thin and this loose, you better be ready for the opponent to be calculating cuts against you every move for the rest of the game until you come back and fix it. And that's really annoying as a human, but the AI doesn't care. It doesn't have any burden of how many moves it has to read. It doesn't feel very upset, you know, doesn't feel any beleaguered. So it can play this kind of move and just keep on threatening to fight you. Obviously, objectively, this move is not a problem as well. The premise is that we're aiming at saving that one stone. If we could save that one stone, these 5 black stones can get under attack. And if we can't save that one stone, then the area becomes rather smaller. White can press it all back, and the point of giving this kind of thickness to black should be making sure it doesn't spiral out of control afterwards. That white is still gaining territory on all sides. So black goes for the cut right away, make sure to try to get the territory, and white isn't going to interact with that right away. This is the kind of thing AI can do. It's like, okay, I could go over there, but what if I just spent a move that continues to reduce your influence, maybe build my own influence, just wait, and I'm aiming still at triggering this at a timing where it will actually be good for me, at a timing where I know what I'm doing. That's so annoying from black, because from black's perspective, it's like, if I spend another move, I'm over-concentrated, but if I don't spend another move, I can get it. What am I supposed to do? And AI will always push and pull between these two different extremes of either you're too small or you're too broken and you can't even get it. Oh, it's a very difficult decision. I don't know what I would do if I were Shin Jinseo here. Probably, like, if I were black, I will play some move in the center directly. I don't know what, though. Probably, like, this move. That's what I would play. Just first instinct. Shin Jinseo actually covers it. So this is a little tiny bit over-concentrated, but Shin Jinseo is going to accept that again. You like N12 in the chat? That would also be a pretty good one. I think that if you played there, KataGo wouldn't answer to you directly, but would play around it. Try to get a situation where you could actually get a surround. And like if KataGo waits for the surround by playing over here, eventually it could maybe get a surround, and then you might be in trouble. Maybe that's too direct of an idea, though. So this one means that white now has lots of control over here for free compared to what they used to. However, there is a vital point here. That's what Shin Jinseo is aiming at. So Shin Jinseo is doing the same thing as KataGo. Shin Jinseo, of course, the best player of all time. Even if you believe that the older players were, you know, greater players relative to their peers, I think it's pretty much inarguable that Shin Jinseo is stronger than all of them, stronger than Go Seigen and Honen Bushisaku and all that. I think it's fairly obvious that Shin Jinseo is the best player of all time. When you don't compare with respect to the resources available. And yeah, so this is a good move. This is clear that he's aiming at the cut here. So it's the same concept as what KataGo was just doing. KataGo is saying, hey, you have a cutting problem. Either I can exploit it, or when you defend, you're going to be too slow. And it's the same thing. So if white defends it somehow, this is very slow to defend. But if white doesn't defend it, then there's a vital point coming. This dichotomy, it's hard to handle. It's actually really difficult to keep a hold of here. So white is going to play this one. I think there was no way to allow this black and then play around it. So you basically had to play here. But then black has kind of gotten away from the original thing they did. From the original problem that he had, where KataGo was threatening this. Like, he's kind of already covered that. So I guess Ah. He could have played away here, but he's even going to continue to press KataGo to be over-concentrated one more time, just to make sure that there's nothing bad shape happening with the KataGo Tiger's Mouth here, which otherwise, if KataGo Tiger's Mouths, it could potentially have been a little dangerous for the group over here even, but very unsatisfying. If you answer, then KataGo clearly has a good shape. So this way he's trying to make a better shape if KataGo would answer, but KataGo doesn't answer. Oh my god, some crazy stuff is happening. So then KataGo realizes if I connect here, I'm falling for Shin Jinseo's trap. I'm too slow. Black covers this naturally, and he's getting a big area here. I'm going to resist. And so that's not just playing a wider move and trying to get this area. I'm going to resist by saying, if you really want to take all this territory, then that means you should take the territory small. I'm going to get the Hane at the first line endgame. This is extremely big, because if white would answer, black could have Haned here and pressed white back 2 points, and black would get 2 more points, because the territory is actually becoming very, very solid here for both players. So white tries to squeeze away the extra bonus 4 points in Sente on the left side, and Shin Jinseo isn't just going to lose 4 points for no reason. He's going to say, hang on a second. Then I need to ask you whether you really have the left side that thickly. If you don't have the left side, or the upper left corner completely, then I need to make sure I don't atar you, because your connect would allow you to kill more corner shapes. So he asks the question, hey, exactly how much control do you have over the corner? And KataGo is saying, I don't have control over the corner, but I would rather reduce your territory. So we get a full trade from both sides. So this is very interesting. If KataGo had blocked here, then when black continues in the corner, I don't think he can make an exactly living shape, but what he can do is take the corner territory, surround the corner territory, take the side territory, surround the corner territory, threaten to make a fully living shape in the upper left, and then surround the white group and gain the top side territory. That was what the threat of this diagonal was, is that Shin Jinseo was thinking to counterattack the full white group and all of the Aji associated with it. And then white is counterattacking the counterattack by saying, I won't even try to kill you in the corner. Which is a bold, bold statement. When black plays here, black is now alive in the corner. All of that territory has switched back to black. So even though the territory switched on the left side to white seems like it was very favorable, both sides have gained something here. And quite a lot of territory here. So the game continues. Wow, white actually does do the punch and the block here. Interesting. So normally this is very bad for white players, and you should not do this too early, because the cuts are very scary. And honestly, it might still be true that the cuts are rather scary for white, but white is inviting fights because it's a handicap game. Yeah, what an interesting trade in the upper left. The end result is that this white group is actually not that secure, even though it does have some territory base on the left side. And also the black group is not that secure because it lost its territory base on the left side. The Baduk TV AI thinks the top left was a 2-point mistake or so after white's move in the bottom right. AI thinks that this move is a mistake? That how is it possible that this move can be a mistake? I mean, I guess it is possible. Maybe it's too committal to saving the stones. Maybe the Baduk TV AI prefers to have a... I mean, the Baduk TV AI is obviously... If it's counting in points, it's KataGo. That's KataGo commentary on KataGo's game. It's kind of fun. There aren't many human players who are willing to give commentary on the game live as they're playing. Anyway, black played the push here, and then he played to reduce. So the meaning of this move is, yes, I have the cut, but if I cut right now, I'd have to fight in the middle of the area. And I'd just be reducing the middle of the area anyway with the fight. Why don't, instead of I start the fight and reduce the area by saving my group, why don't I just walk in and reduce the area normally? And then when that happens, then I can get benefit to the bottom side. I'm the one who's building territory while you block the stuff that you could anyways get. So when white gets cut, then white can get the bottom side territory as black reduces, but this way black is reducing but hoping to get his outside benefit. It's basically a thicker way to play, and he's trying to not have to fight over the right side at all. But honestly, this white move, I mean, obviously what black put, the reason why he put the stone here is so that white could not shoulder hit him because it leaves too big of a weakness behind. But even when white does not shoulder hit him and he just covers like this, I mean, she just covers, and it's still pressure. It's still difficult. This is still very difficult to enter and awkward to handle. So black now plays the pincer on the top side. I was actually expecting that to be the valuable area throughout. I thought white would play here. I thought black would play here. I thought all the time this top side is the most valuable because it gives pressure to the white group. And at the same time, because of this shape earlier, the top side looks like it's a lot of territory for black, doesn't it? Seems like it's so valuable. So white plays this peeping move once, and finally we've caught up to the game. Very interesting. So already we have some trades. Shin knows if you want to win a 2-stun game against KataGo, you've got to trade. So I think we're going to see more trades than just that that first one. As the game continues, it's probably not going to be a basic let's resolve down to endgame. KataGo, obviously every move, it has a 20-second timer. It's the way they set it up is that KataGo has 1 times 20-second Buyomi, and Shinjinso has the 5 hours main time, so he has as much time to think as he likes. 5 hours main time for Shinjinso sounds like a lot more than in most of the world championships where you get only 3 hours. But in practice, when you play against AI, it thinks not very often. It doesn't give you enough time to think on their turn, right? So you need more turn, like you need more time just to simulate the time that you would be using while the opponent is thinking, right? So 5 hours main time for Shinjinso is actually a rather normal pace for him. That's from Shinjinso's perspective going to feel very similar to his standard world championship games. 5 hours is so little. He has mentioned that he wishes his world championship games were a little longer. But on the other hand, 5 hours is still quite a lot. it is a lot of time. And only 1 30-second Buyomi is not a lot, I know. But yeah, Shinjinso is... he's going to be fine. 30 seconds Buyomi for Shinjinso is still enough to play world champion class. Like that's still a lot of time for Shinjinso. Just not in the situations where everything is really active trading and you have to full judge and you have to figure out how you're going to win by half a point, that kind of thing. Those situations are going to be really difficult to do on 30 seconds. But you're sort of average position, Shinjinso in 30 seconds can do no problem. This is interesting. So we had the 1 peep here. That was designed to cover the left side so that white wouldn't be very easily counterattacked. And then white is doing the very, very strongest way of taking care that you can possibly dream of. I'm curious what would happen if black pushes here. The old greats played really good endgames in a lot of games because they took really, really long amounts of time to actually just solve them. This is true. But also, they didn't always play that great in the endgame. They did play good, but you know, if they had no time control in the modern day, they would do better in the endgame. And I don't think that's very controversial. But the old greats did do good endgame in general. If you do want to study good endgame, well, you should probably use the Go Dash problem app. But if you want to see it in practice, then you can watch some of the old Japanese castle games, or really anything where they studied hard. So if push here, I think white would jump. This is my reading. So I have no idea whether it's any good at all. Then I think black would wedge. That seems to put the maximum pressure. And white has a couple of options, but in general seems a little difficult. One thing that white can aim at all the time here is killing the corner. If white plays this move, then for black to live, black is planning, I believe, on playing the block here, because if you played here, it's a bit thin in the corner. You would have to rely on the top side. So I believe the block is the best way to save, and then there's still the throw in, and then you can try to save that one stone on the 3-1. If you could link that up to an outside stone, it would be great, but I guess that only really works with the sente move here. Anyway, if white has a sente move here, I guess that's pretty easy. White could just pull back and play the sente move. But I'm not really sure what the timing of that would be. If they had no time control in the modern day, people would add time control. Maybe. I don't know. Some people play no time control in the modern day just for fun. But nobody's really doing that in pro games. Try to cage this one. So the meaning of this one is certainly to save this white group, and at the same time, aim at reducing and harassing the black topside territory. If black gets passive over here, then white is going to get a lot of potential value in the center, either from not having to take care of the upper left directly, or from directly pressing down on the black topside. Currently, black is winning. I'm very confident in that. Black is winning by 2 stones. 2 stones handicap in the beginning of the game. Does the B7 clamp benefit black at all? Oh, is there some kind of Aji on the left side? That's a good question. There's certainly Aji. Like the chance that there could be something happening over here is quite high. Can black do anything with it very soon? It's harder. But if black plays this move, there's some nice techniques. If white blocks, then black can push here. And then if white blocks again, black can cut and capture the 2 stones. Or if white pulls back, black can save the stone just directly extending up and save it directly. So you can eliminate white from having any eyes on the left side if black plays first and really tries. Interestingly, Shin did not attempt to deal with this at all. So he could have chosen to like try to build the top side if he wasn't going to touch this stone directly, but he probably thought if he does that, it just gives white more forcing moves to harass him. So he started by exchanging this move on the right side. This move asked white whether white was going to block outside. If white did block on the outside, then black has this Hane and the cut is an empty triangle. It's so hard to handle. I don't know exactly how it would go on. But yeah, I don't know. It would have been trouble for white. So it's far more reasonable from white's perspective to block here. This is still a big enough area to be satisfied to block and cover it. But from Shin Jinseo's perspective, he's thinking, I forced you to be more honest about the right side, and I still have this stone as my Aji to do something in the future. I can reduce this area a bit better. That stone will not be nothing in the future. So it's already just sort of a pleasant exchange. As long as the plan is, I'm giving this area, which I would assume is the plan in this game. Excuse me. Yeah, I think if black plays here, I do not think that there is a potential for white to make an eye. That does not seem reasonable. Of course, this is all assuming that white is actually surrounded and you're actually attacking on purpose, and that you have some thickness outside. But this move would definitely stop white from making one eye, if that were all the case. So there's some Aji. I think that's the best way to describe it. There's some Aji stuff. What would you guys do if you were black here? Yeah, I think if I were black, I'm gonna play the knight's move up on the top side. I'm too much of a coward to be the first one to play in the center, but basically because this lean is coming, and I feel like that's scary. So if you play in the center, I'm worried that the opponent will immediately play to the top side, and we have to justify that the center is valuable, which is not easy. You suggest to run out through here. Yeah, this is about as aggressive as it can get. Where you're coming in, sort of baiting white to cut you, and saying, I'll be able to fight there. I think the cut would probably be effective for white. I think we probably should hold back for a moment longer. get a bit more power first before we try to go in too deep. I8, so over here. Yeah, this kind of move is black can aim at this cutting point and try to press white to be smaller, and maybe that we can become a bit thicker. But the problem with this kind of move is that it's really slow to the important white area. So I think if you played here, white would be able to shoulder hit you and maybe lean over here first. But eventually when they shoulder hit you, this move, even though it is a rather fast jump from the left side, I think any connection at all to the left side is probably just not going fast enough. It's a possible way, but probably we need to be further. But either peep, L9 or L11. Or sorry, you're talking about these ones, these peeps. So yeah, this peep, I think this one is too deep. I think if you peeped here, then white would be happy to connect, and then your stone is not useful. This peep is possible. It's threatening a stronger cut. It's going a bit deeper. Somehow I feel like something is off, but I don't know what it is. I feel like there should be a good white response to this peep, but I wouldn't be able to tell you easily what that response would be. Maybe just connect still, but I think it would be okay for black if that were what happened. Is M9 or M10 too deep? These are possible. The thing is, if it were AI playing black, I would be like, yeah, those are totally fine. But it's Jinseo playing black. You have to give credit to the AI for winning middle of the board fights. And the main problem for black is that if he didn't have problems on the top side, problems in the upper left corner, where he actually feels committed to those things, then M10, M9, these would be totally fine. Because you can just take care, if this is the only thing you're doing on the board, you can take care of that. That's going to be okay. But the problem is that he has other stuff that he's doing. And those ones are going to distract him at some point if he tries to do this. Or if they don't distract him and he just plays in the center fully, then he'll lose it. Which is also not great, necessarily. Usually, because this white right side is very thick, if you did want to go that deep, you would go a bit further away from the right side. Because obviously if you play M9 or M10, you can't really do anything to the right side anyway. So it'd be better to probably play it a bit more central. Since, you know, you weren't going to follow up on the right side. But it is possible to do these. Like, I could totally see something around here coming. What I'm actually going to do is open up my own KataGo and take a look. The game. Are the Koreans not live streaming this right now? I didn't see anything on Buduk TV or KBuduk. Maybe I'm just missing it. Let me, sorry about this, turn on. Oh, do you guys know what Komi is on for today, by the way? Should probably have known that. Oops. It's airing on a Korean TV station. There's a YouTube broadcast here. Aha. So Shin Jinseo is currently on 3 hours and 43 minutes, and he's down to a 12.5 point lead. How much lead did he start with? He started with 18.5. So that means that the Komi was 0? Yeah, Komi is, well, I guess it could be 0 or 0.5. I don't actually know. 0.5. Aha, excellent. Thank you. Lost 6 points so far, perhaps. This here. And then I'm just putting the moves in from the game to my KataGo. Right, it did that. Oh, excuse me. So he's hesitating at the moment. Spending some time to think about how to continue after that white nice move saving on the top side. Not that clean. Yeah, the upper left trade was very fighting spirity. And I too would have accepted the first line Hane. Against KataGo, it's so imposing, right? Feels like you have to accept everything, even if you might insist not afterwards. Oh, Shinjiso actually finally does do the push, which I was thinking that it was not clear how white exactly should answer to that push. White is accepting the first moment. What if black keeps pushing? I think if black keeps pushing, it's a fair fight. I'm not saying this is like a chance for Shinjinsa to get an advantage in the fight, but I don't think that there's anything that white can do that really punishes it. However, that's according to a much, much weaker player. Shinjinsa could give me 4 stuns. And AI, yeah, AI too. So here we have the game, and you can see the KataGo graph on the upper right. It's just steadily declining. It says, as you'd expect, thing is the AI. Yeah, my KataGo is not impressed at all by the aggressive KataGo's decision here. But it also thinks Shin shouldn't really enclose. But that makes the game more complicated. This stone is more effective in these variations where you get to approach. Anyway, I do think that at this moment, this black move is actually getting slightly outplayed. Like, I believe that this part is real, where if he had taken enclosure now, it's very different, because this high approach is awkward for black to play low after already playing at f3. He sort of got convinced to play double low, which you wouldn't want normally. So it would have been better to go and take an enclosure over here. Some enclosure, I don't know what enclosure he likes the best, and get double approach. The problem is when you get double approach, then you have to play against the AI in a double approach Joseki. So, just accept the Hane is also losing a lot of corner Aji. Yeah, that was the reason why Shin Jinseo did what he did was good. So yeah, in the actual game, we just accepted this, and then Hane to get a bad exchange. It's so comfortable to eat a bad exchange because you have very little burden to prove that this area is a good shape for you. The upper right will always be a good shape for you, no matter what. Feels comfy. And he answered this. This was actually not that bad. But White's move here was great to press for just a little more and test Shin Jinseo there. Here, the extend is a lot better in this case. So most of the time, this is your standard Joseki, but here you can see black is just worse because black is thinner in this one, and you aren't getting more territory. So it makes sense that he did what he did here. And then it makes a lot of sense for white as well to punish the bad exchanges in the upper left. Here he could have played more territorial. This diagonal move is a good one. I thought that this one gets broken. So, if black cuts, it gets broken. So in general, after white covers and has the surrounding stone, black is in a lot of trouble. But black could, he could have blocked the corner and then escaped like this, accepting some really weird shape. Yeah. But he's at least getting out. There's no way for white to cover him. This would have been very fun as well, to just give KataGo Panuki immediately. Interesting. This move was the best. Okay. Yes, as you say, KataGo. And here, Shin Jinseo did not need to answer. I think I said I would play here, right? I think this is the move I told you guys I would play. Pretty good at this game. I know how to play the center. But, yeah, this is fine. Yeah, here, KataGo has nothing to do but kick. This is the only move which is, like, acceptable to Shin Jinseo's plot. But then this one, the Hane here was so sharp by KataGo. Of course, if it plays on this side, Shin Jinseo wouldn't have Hane connected, but would have pressured the full corner. That's interesting. So this way we're putting pressure, hey, your entire corner has trouble, and I'm getting the top side. And so that's what we're actually preventing with this Hane, but we aren't preventing it that hard. So if he answered like this and got thicker, then the problem is that white would play in the on the top side, and we cannot use this Aji anymore because 4 is so easy to kill, and it's just an easy death in the upper left. So there's no Aji really. Even still, it's interesting that white would cover it, because just if white never covers it, then this is still annoying. It's like we're still getting surrounded. We're still under pressure that here, if we don't answer, we're still under pressure that we would have to capture the inside. Wow. Interesting that these are also good for black. And so Shin Jinseo is very alert to that. He knew how much pressure he can put under the upper left corner. So he went to save it and save it. White played here. And attached. And this is actually correct. So I guess in this case, the attach is a lot better than it normally is, objectively speaking, because it's hard for black to get in here. So black can totally get in here and try, but he has to float a weak group. And in the meantime, this one already did get some territorial benefit. Interesting. The Hane was also possible, huh? So this fight is indeed real. The fight that I was telling you guys is real, according to my KataGo at home. I genuinely believe the push through and cuts are okay here, but Shinjinso will have a really hard time pushing and cutting because AI just does not let you push and cut to win. That's just not something that AI does. Humans will let you do that, but AI will not just be like, "Oh man, you push and cut me. I didn't see that." AI always saw it. It's just whether AI will do it. Right? Okay, interesting. So the reasons why Shinjinso has lost a few points, however many he has, if he's down to like 13 points from an initial 18, he's lost like 5 points, right? It's all tiny things. It's all the like little stuff that I was actually mentioning, where you lose a little bit in the beginning here, you lose a little bit in the upper right, as we described, and yeah, this part I don't think you lose anything. But I guess you lose a little bit taking the outside influence here. You lose a little bit being passive here. You could have put pressure in the upper left corner immediately. You lose a little bit passive there. You don't lose it answering because you're absolute Giga Chad doing the perfect trading against the AI in the corner. I don't think that these are errors, are they? Is it KataGo or Kata Handicap? I'm fairly certain it's Kata Handicap. Of course, Kata Handicap is the same thing as KataGo, just where Katrin is telling you about the fact that they are adjusting the aggressiveness value. It's the same program. I believe it's the same program. So, interesting. So black pushed through once, and white allowed him to cut, and then Shinjinso got cold feet. So yeah, this situation, we should go back to the live game. This situation is very intimidating as a human. If this were not AI, I think KataGo would have gone. Like if KataGo was not KataGo, Shinjinso respects KataGo so much, right? Like I'm sure you can't study with KataGo and play with KataGo for a very long time and not have an extreme amount of respect for it. Even though Shinjinso does call out KataGo's mistakes sometimes in like pro game reviews, I remember him being like, okay, but this is just a judgment error from KataGo because it's not a perfect player yet. I remember there was some translated pro game like World Championship review where he was pointing out that KataGo's suggestion was not exactly perfect and there was a better move according to the logic and the judgment that he could do. So it is possible for Shinjinso to like actually naturally spot KataGo's mistakes, which is unbelievable. It is very, very rare, but possible. Anyway, if you're at that level where you can see KataGo's mistakes, you're at the level where you can see how amazing KataGo is, and you get so much respect for it. I get so much respect for KataGo. So when you see it allowing you to cut you, you know it's going to do something about that. And you get nervous, right? So you get like, okay, well, I could go for this trading, and it would be like that. And I'm sure he calculated so much. But at the end, you have a sense of doom over you the whole time, right? So it's so easy to be like, you know what? Maybe better is to do the basic way. I'm just going to take care of myself, get a nice topside, not go for the crazy cut trading. The crazy cut trading, if you miss one thing somewhere, or if your judgment is slightly off, it can be bad. And typically, when KataGo is allowing you to do it, your judgment will be slightly off about one variation, because otherwise KataGo wouldn't have allowed it. But in this case, it seems like maybe KataGo was allowing it, and it was indeed the better way. Let's go back and take a look at what exactly was happening here according to KataGo. So in the game, it goes like this. I guess I can make this the main branch. And this is the crazy line. So here, KataGo would have done that, and Shinjinso could have pushed and cut. So if he had pushed and cut like this, then if KataGo answers in the corner, black can connect over here. This whole group has to save itself. So even though it can try to attack the corner here, it's not easy to kill the corner. I mean, white got a forcing move, which means that you can try, but the white group is also in danger. And now here you can see the move that I was telling you about beforehand, where if white blocks, then black can push here and connect in either direction, which means that black can block this, and then white has no eyes. In this case, black would be winning the fight. So this is not what would happen. White would capture on the outside here. White can't play here because he's just a little, like she's fragile here basically. So white needs to capture on the outside, which means that black can play these moves, and black can play this one as a forcing move first, because if white cuts, that takes her into a shortage of liberty, which means that white is also making black very thick, and then this whole group on the left side is in huge trouble. So that wouldn't happen. We would have, after this, the diagonal first, apparently, and then they connect. And in this situation, you can see black is alive here, but because white gets the diagonal first and then the block, and there's a shortage of liberty, it's not going to be easy for black to kill this left side white group. Yeah, this wedge is basically the problem. The fact that we can block here and then aim at either playing a B11 next. If black fixes the outside, we're going to play B11, right? Or we could play it like this, but no matter what, we can save the group. Or if black tries to kill, then we can wedge. You have to eventually answer to this, and then there's going to be a cut on the outside here. Ooh, I messed up. Hang on. Oh, there should be a squeeze. So it's actually not that cut, it's this cut. Wow. So this cut is putting pressure that black needs to save these stones, which are harder to escape. Wow. Wow. So here, black needs to run through this, and then this black, also being weak, will come to be dangerous as well. So that gives white a sente move, which perhaps means that there will be a net over here, like this, and then eventually net. This might seem insane that I'm playing this all out. I'm pretty sure KataGo read, and Shin Jinseo, I'm pretty sure, would have read all the way. This is the kind of crazy thing when Shin Jinseo has enough time, he actually reads it. Like, he actually can tell you, oh, but after this, white would have played here, and then if I tried to kill it, then it would have been wedge, bang, 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 cut, and then I have to save my group, and I run it out, and then they would try to net me, and then I try to run it out some more. They get some sente move, and with the sente moves that they have over there, then eventually they should be able to catch me. Like, this is the kind of thing which Shin Jinseo will actually see whether he gets caught or not in the end. Because if it doesn't get caught, if white can't find that catching move, black can win. Black can kill the group on the left side. So you need to actually catch it in order to win this. And he probably calculated that all out and realized, oh, hang on a second, this is working for white. And so then we have the question, right? If that was working for white, then why is this actually good for black anyway? Here, cut, and here. And the answer is black can turn like this. Okay, so this is a way to become safe. Aha! So if black would turn on the outside here and allow white to save on the left side, I don't know exactly how, and then extend here, white can jump. White is easily going to save this group on the outside, but black is going to get territory back on the top as black harasses this group. And this is what black needed to do to get slightly more territory compared to the actual game where he chose to say, I'm not going to harass a group, I'm just going to try to get the topside territory. So you can see from Shin Jinseo's perspective, he's looking at it thinking, oh, I can harass the top side and maybe get a little bit of coin, or I can make it so that he's okay. I can't really harass the top side, I don't have as much center power, but I get more coin, I get more territory. You can see why Shin Jinseo would choose this variation. Even if this one is better, you have to play that if you believe in the like small form of benefit of little bit of power gives you a little bit more control. It's so hard to judge. It's so hard to judge which little form of benefit is powerful. And that's the judgment that you're doing after reading 40 moves deep into the surround in the center, whatever the heck is happening. So this is just unbelievably difficult situation for Shin Jinseo. Unbelievably difficult type of judgment, which is why you can see a 2-point mistake. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. A little 2-point error from Shin Jinseo there drops him down to only a 11-point lead. It is possible to beat the AIs on 2 stones while making a 2-point error or 2, but you can't make very many of them. If if just in general the drift will guide the AI towards victory, you can't really add on any extra errors. But that seemed like a drift to me. That seemed like a drift moment that was just sort of delayed activation drift from prior fighting. So finally, after exchanging that, Shin Jinseo reduces in the center. He plays this one, which is close to where I was talking about earlier, being a good move in the center. And white plays to reduce the top side. So this is the problem with trying to get more coins, is that the opponent can say, hang on a second, well then I'm going to ask you, do you want to actually keep them? Shin Jinseo cannot keep them. This extend is a no-brainer for players at Shin Jinseo's level. You don't want to come back and be passive. It's so obvious instead to play counter-aggressive, will remain in a good spot no matter whether this ends up being pressed back. This far, that far, whatever. This is always going to be effective. If you captured, then those stones would be way too compressed. So extend is really easy to play. The jump here from white puts pressure. Hey, I'm going to come back and break the top side. And Shin Jinseo said, go for it. Trade. Do that. If he would have played to link underneath, it was too small. It was going to be too passive. So he found a way to fight. He found a way to do something else. And that had to involve another area of the board. It had to involve the center of the board here. Let me turn off the move numbers. So yeah, he's playing attach here in order to demonstrate the center of the board is important. Reducing the right side of the board is important. Aiming at the cuts is important. All of these things are valuable. He's trying to show that with his attach here. And ask white, hey, which side are you going to cover? So white could have played the Hane here. That seems more natural to most people, to most humans, because Hane here covers the more empty space. But the problem with playing that way, although you're covering the more empty space, you're also letting black go to the more empty space. So if you Haned here, Shin Jinseo's plan was to Hane back, and then it would have been difficult for white to really make a centered fight around that. Like the black Hane here seems like that one is in the center and sort of doing everything that black wants it to do. And so even when white plays from the top side, black still is going to extend back and try to play centrally to this, try to keep counterattack on the left side, try to break the center potential moyo white is building. But you can see in this way, black is getting a much less efficient shape when he's just extending back, allowing white to extend forward, covering the whole area again. The shape is efficient for white here. And so that's why white played the Hane on the wrong side, supposedly. Don't let your stone become a bad exchange. That's the key. So, yeah, seems like, again, we lose a little control for black. But we can maybe get it back if we play now. If we play well at this moment. And I see, hang on a second. They have Shin Jinseo, by the way, playing against human, just like oh, who was it who played AlphaGo? It wasn't Fanhui, right? It was somebody sat down and played the moves that AlphaGo played against Lisa Doll. I'm forgetting his name right now. Buduk TV AI is saying black plus 9.0, so AI is caught up halfway. I hate to say it, but that means that AI, KataGo, is going to win this one. If KataGo is already caught up halfway, the fighting hasn't really kicked off yet, right? Like, there's still the bottom side to fight over, and the right side, Shin Jinseo could play that perfectly, but it's going to be really difficult, that kind of situation. And the top side, there's no way he can play that perfectly. Like, the bottom side and the top side, there's no way that he doesn't lose. It was Aja Huang. Thank you. I was blanking on the name. So they have a similar. They have a girl doing the Aja Huang role against Shin Jinseo. But the camera is fully on Shin Jinseo. It's not not on the general match state. So in the game here, we can see after this, Shin chose to just turn, which is very thick. But White can follow up with his Tiger's Mouth, which is also very thick and getting a lot of territory at the same time. It seems like that was a slightly good flow for White, but of course everything is going to be good flow for White. But it seems like this was like somewhat notably because Black ended up, like this attachment ended up giving Black thickness that was a little too close to his other stone, right? Maybe endgame will be easier to have no mistakes for Shin Jinseo. So it is possible. I have seen people actually hold like, not many people, like the world champs that are at the same level as Shin Jinseo, they can hold 5-point leads for 100 moves, 150 moves if the whole game is easy endgame. They can hold a 5-point lead against AI. But that's only if the endgame is simple, first of all. So the endgame has to actually be a whole bunch of local positions, which they are solving and correctly like counting the size of the moves and playing, this is the best size, this is the best size. We aren't close to that kind of game. And yeah. It's also yeah. Can't believe I lived to see the #1 in the world be at a disadvantage taking 2 stones versus a computer. Yeah, it's crazy. And what's even crazier is this #1 in the world could give no Komi to all the previous #1s in the world at their peak. It's actually crazy how good AI is. How deeply it's possible to understand this game. Is Shin Jinseo 2.5 stones weaker or 3? Let's hold your horses here. We'll have to see the full match to see how likely it is that Shin Jinseo will win any of these games. This particular game was really hard for Shin Jinseo. This particular game, AI did a great job of like actually putting pressure and making it difficult for Shin Jinseo. How do you handicap half a stone? So 1 full stone of handicap at the beginning of the game is double the size of Komi. So when you take no Komi against somebody, they say it's a 1 stone handicap, but it's actually a half stone handicap. When you take no Komi and 2 stones like this is actually 1.5 stone handicap. This is not really a 2 stone handicap because White plays next, right? So it's actually 1.5 stone handicap. And when you have 3 stones, that's like 2.5 stone handicap if it's 3 stones no Komi. If you gave reverse Komi, then it would be actually a 2 stone handicap. Because then it would be 2 stones, and then if Shin Jinseo also had Komi, then it's a complete 2 stones for full passes, right? So, yeah, asking whether Shin Jinseo is 2.5 stones weaker or 3. I mean, we're seeing him lose a game where he's 1.5 stones. It's kind of too much to say he's 2.5 stones weaker. If Shin Jinseo played 3 stone handicap against KataGo, Shin Jinseo would win more than half the time by a lot, like more than 80% of the time. I would guess. Even with KataGo being aggressive as it's being, and yeah, I think Shin Jinseo is that good. Like, there's a huge difference. You guys don't understand. When you have 18 points only as your buffer, just a pure efficiency drift can get there. Like, without Black making a single significant mistake or noticeable human mistake, it can get there. So in this game, he did make a noticeable human mistake because it was so freaking hard that White played this really aggressive move that was cuttable. And then the only way for Black to seize control of the game was to throw the game into complete chaos, which you wouldn't actually be able to play, right? So in a sense, sometimes you get lucky and go. This move from White was perfect for the match situation, for humans having trouble against it. It's so difficult, right? And Yeah, you could call this move 68 as like the first proper mistake. But on the other hand, you could call moves like falling back here a mistake, because this is one of the things that's getting him efficiency drifted, is that he didn't anticipate that the opponent's high approach here would be setting them up for a good game and really efficient. And White did objectively gain value with just that, right? He's done really fantastically, actually, overall here. But just sometimes the opponent, when the opponent is AI, sometimes they get lucky and they get to play this kind of move, which is just so impossible to touch, to handle, that you can't help. Like what is he supposed to do? Play absolute perfect against it? It's nuts. It's too hard. So after that, he's playing here, and then he's trying to like kill off the center. This works much better if you didn't lose as much in the efficiency drift and the stuff before that, where you're like trying to make it so that this part is not a particularly exciting fight. And here he's going to go for some counterattack because, because he got the extra thickness and he gave away the territory on the top side for the thickness. He should be doing this kind of move. This is exactly what I said earlier, where like this move, it does deserve to be played. It just deserves to be played at a moment where Black has the support to be able to answer to the cuts. And he does right now. So White has to back off like this. Problem is when White backs off, of course, this central White is not that weak. And these 3 stones of White, they're not that weak. White isn't actually going to lose much time here, especially since there's the squeeze against Black over here. Yeah, many people have beaten Fine Art on effectively 1.5 stones handicap. And Fine Art is just about as good as KataGo, the strong Fine Art versus KataGo with Pondering On. In general, the super top, like the absolute best players at beating Fine Art haven't really managed more than a 20% win rate against it. And that's I'm talking like the player with the best win rate that I can remember, which isn't even the strongest player. Like Shin isn't close to a 10% win rate against KataGo. But some of the players, they really spend all their time, they're very careful, and they try to dodge fights by threatening fights. Like they know how to metagame this kind of gameplay, and they can get something like a 20% win rate against Fine Art in the 2-stone no-komi games. It's the KataGo's credit that it mixed in a few unusual moves to make it harder for Black to make safe even exchanges. Yeah, absolutely. KataGo has played this game. They tuned it to the correct amount of aggression. KataGo played this game with the correct amount of contempt for Shin Jinseo, which is not very much contempt, but just enough to be able to give pressure. The right side opening shape is the kind of stakeout that you'd hate to play against a stronger player, and yet it's the kind of thing that the stronger players are always aiming at, right? Like this is the thing that, as one such stronger player in my handicap games, I always try. I if I can stake out, it's the best. Yes, and yeah, even you can see at the highest level, it's not like there is a clear answer. Oh, your opponent is getting too big of an area. Just deal with it like this. There's an easy A. No, even Shin Jinseo can't deal with it if KataGo does it against him, because the premise of the game plan is that I'm gonna fight there and I'm gonna be better than you. The premise is not anything like strategic that you can just outplay. It's just I will understand how to fight that area better than you, or I will get more territory than you. And if they're both true, then that's already just good, right? As long as you can outfight, you can win, you can gain. So it's actually something worth remembering that you should also be doing to your opponents, something that I was doing to my opponent in the game that I played as this game started, was threatening some really big areas. Yeah, it's good. Good strategy. Shin Jinseo playing a move. This is aiming at the cuts. So Shin Jinseo is going to activate something here on the bottom side. I believe it to be a good decision. And then I saw the KataGo graph going down. That the KataGo graph is saying this is not so good. So if what am I missing? If we push through, is there going to be a counter push from white here? Surely white. This is something I thought that Shin Jinseo would be able to do and get something out of. Oh, is it actually going to be a sacrifice of these 4 stones for white? And then white is actually going to be okay in the overall game state after dying with these 4? This push is designed to make it so that these white stones get closer to the center, so that as black pushes through, he's double attacking the 2 groups, the center and the bottom side, harder. That's a good strategy. It's if you can gain time like this, it's often possible to make a decisive blow. In this case, I don't think Shin Jinseo thinks he's going to get a decisive winning blow. He just thinks he's going to get a trade, which is as good as anything else. He already gave away territory on the top side, right? So you have to get it back in the trading. And this is the best trade that he could find, presumably, by pushing, potentially being able to push through. Let's see. We have a comment from somebody with a gold crown. Who is this? Lu Cheng Xuan. That really shrinks the board. So the world champ says, okay, we're going to go cut through here, and it's going to be the full trade, and then after the trade is done, we're actually going to endgame sometime soon. That's what the world champ says. So yeah, I can see a variation on the Korean broadcast right now, where black could capture these 4 stones, white would get a lot of outside power, but black is getting some territory out of that, and if Shin Jinseo does manage to shrink the board, head to an endgame where he's up 6.5 points, he has good winning chances. It's still possible. There were many cutting points in the middle white group, and we need to fight using the cutting points. That's how Shin Jinseo is feeling as well. So even though the opponent is like answering and covering themselves, yes, they were covering themselves, but there's some slight aji here. Shin Jinseo could have done a very slow, patient way where he's like, okay, there's some cuts, I'll steadily aim at it. But yeah, if we manage to shrink the board and make this clean, then we can't fight here anymore. Like if you're patient, that means you're gonna have to continue to fight here. It means you're gonna have to play all these very precise, like, oh, if I play this connect or that connect, one of them is gonna be half a point better, and oh, I lose a half point. You know? Shin Jinseo is now thinking, though, after turning, perhaps looking again at the precise variations. I don't know how I would read this. This is so difficult. He does still have 3 hours on his clock. But the thing is, it won't like immediately become an endgame. Not immediately. There's still some stuff happening throughout the board. There's still, and even if you have 3 hours to calculate the end game, and it's an end game with that versus that versus that versus that versus like whatever the heck is happening in the center, and there's so much difficulty in this particular end game. I still think the chances are really low, really quite low. Ooh, there's something devious. I didn't see that. Oh. I just looked at some variation from the Fox chat. If black pushes through and white turns, you would think, okay, I'll just continue to push through. White can hane. Black answers. White can turn like this. You think, oh, I'll block. White cuts. You want to push down, right? Atari, push down here. Oh, but when I play here, It's not Atari because it didn't cut you, and you have that, so you can block. And I can't do this. It's not Atari. You just connect. Oh, you connect. You still have a short liberty against this. The cutting stones are dead. So if you try to turn, the opponent can turn, and you can't push here and then answer the Hane and then keep these stones with the block. There's something is going to break there. And when something breaks, it's not like he even had that strong wind attack. Oh, this could be very bad. So AlphaGo versus Kudja was a even game, right? So of course that was going to be a complicated fight, because Kudja didn't want a basic game, right? He knew he would lose that one, but he wants the complicated fight to lease it all it. Yeah, in this game, Shin Jinseo wants a basic game. He does not want a complicated game, but it's nonetheless happening. And yeah, that's just how it works against KataGo. You can't avoid the complication. You just have to play amazingly. He has played that turn through anyway, despite the fact that there is a counter resource for white. I see it on the YouTube feed. It's actually possible that white would block anyway, despite that he has the other way that things can go. Let's see. Let me put the rest of the moves here so I can ask my own KataGo some questions. So KataGo does choose to turn in response to this, and black, yeah, not really able to push through, might come back to turn, or he might push through and make it a complicated fight. Someone lost by half a point to AlphaGo Master. Yeah, so AlphaGo Master was playing with food. That was not actually a close game, but AlphaGo Master made it close for fun. Yeah, parsing one and muting. I mean, credit to them for like punishing the AI when it was playing with its food, but it doesn't mean that they had a winning chance. It doesn't really matter, right? So my KataGo at home is saying black must play the pull back here to prevent the dangerous stuff, and then white can block obviously, and black could then choose to cut or could be a bit more patient. Yeah, so Shin Jinseo is much younger than when AlphaGo Master was playing, so he really didn't play his best game. He didn't play a game that was even like, the reason why Shin Jinseo is the best player of all time isn't because he was the best player of all time before AI came out. It's because he was a good player, very good at reading in particular, very good at fighting in particular before AI came out. And then when AI came out, he actually learned from it how to play Go, you know, how to play strategically, how to use all of his fighting power. So now it's like fighting one of these, you know, these Smurf players who get at your rank, who suck at the opening, who are not good at strategy, but will just outread you. It's like fighting one of those, except he's also better at strategy than you. And that's for the world champs. It's very unfair. He did push through. So we're going to get the maximum exciting fight. My KataGo is not a fan. Believing that, yeah, white should be getting something that, in the bottom right here, like, there will be some kind of forcing move against the 3 stones, which threatens to capture these 5 stones in the center. White should be getting something from that, where, yeah, so this throw-in is making sense. It's the most optimal move, actually, to take advantage of it. So if Um, if black had pulled back, it would have been black by 6.5, which, considering that it would have been a very long center fight after that, is basically no winning chances anyway, to be honest. This way is also probably not good at all. It's not like Shinjinso is surprised by the fact that white is playing to use the weakness of the Shorts of Liberty on his 3 stones. It's like he's like, oh no, I didn't see that coming. He saw this coming. He knew that this was going to happen. He just thought this should be the best way to try to make the game trade into a variation where I'm leading. Like that's the I want to trade into a variation which I can have a lead and control. He's gonna die with these 3 stones, and he's gonna be under a lot of pressure in his corner, but this center group is also under massive pressure. Absolutely massive pressure. Yeah, this is really difficult. This is really, really difficult to say is black. Man. The problem is, like, in this game, he's making some 2-point errors while making the super complicated trades. So, yeah, we make a 2-point error here, a 2-point error there. And they're coming from these trading judgments, which are slightly off, right? Like, oh, can I make this cut? No, I shouldn't have made that cut. Like in the upper left, yeah, he was supposed to make that cut and go for the crazy fighting long-term counter initiative. And then this time he goes for the crazy fighting long-term counter initiative, and yeah, it's like, no, 2 points off. You should have been patient and waited. It's like you don't know which one of the answers is going to be correct. You just have to use your own judgment every time. And yeah, especially when you know you've already lost a lot of control, you're more likely to go for these sort of stronger variations, just sort of human nature, but it's, it's so difficult to actually like control objectively is it's unreal. So the most basic variation, the reason why this Tsuji is working is that if black blocks on the outside, white can pull back, black cuts, white's gonna block on the outside. Then black would be Atari'd if he plays away. So he wants the answer, right? But then when white gets this 1 extra second line Sente, that means white can turn here and try to attack these 5 stones, try to surround those 5 stones. With the second line descend in Sente, even if black jumps, white can push, black could bamboo, white can push again. And with the descend, there's no way for black to escape at all. There's nothing that black can never do. So the block, the cut would happen. Black is just going to die. So when this happens, if black blocks here and white saves the stone, if black continues to cut, then black would, would see this block, and black would need to cut over here or save. Probably it's cut here first, and then try to save the 5 stones. You get some counterattack against the center, but that center doesn't look like it's gonna die, right? It's so difficult. Shin Jinseo once said in an interview, the more nervous he gets, the more uncompromising and severe his play is. Right, and like he said, his mistake when he plays low on time is usually that he plays too severe. Yeah, obviously this is not like low on time, but that is Shin Jinseo's habit. It's what he's more comfortable with. It's the way that he played when he was a kid, right? He always played way too severe and way too uncompromising when he was a kid. And so it's sort of something he trained himself out of with skill from studying with AI, but he can still fall back to his roots. Playing super severe is indeed a very good way to get lots of good reading practice, to become a wonderful reader, to become one of the best fighters of all time. There's no way the best fighter of all time in Go would have not fought very much as a kid, right? Like that doesn't make sense. You have to have been a crazy fighter when you were a kid to become the best fighter of all time. I'm not even saying that Shinjinso necessarily is the best fighter of all time, but it wouldn't make sense for someone who wasn't a very active fighter as a kid to come along and be better than him. So black blocks, white saves the probing stone. Black may choose to turn here, actually, which would allow white to save the 2 stones, and then black could save on the bottom side, and then you're still getting sort of double attacked. It's so difficult to hold all this stuff. We have a 6don pro in the chat giving the basic fundamental variation. The longer it runs, the more it's okay with black's choice, back to almost 5 points. But this is probably only if black does the turn now, which is really difficult. Yes. So the best way for black to play now is turn, white connects, then hane. White can play this empty triangle, try to cut, black could extend. White can try to push, try to cut, but black hanes. If white actually comes through with it, tries to cut, black exploits the fact that white never connected these in this variation. If white connects here, white doesn't connect back these stones, right? So you could link back these 5 stones and try to save these 4 stones that become 5 stones all at the same time. And if that were to happen, the corner would be near death, but you would keep the pressure in the center. So you would get this variation at the end where the corner and the center are both like worth a move. White plays one, black plays the other, and black could potentially get, like, for black to recover this game, for Shin Jinseo to recover this game, he would have to play at AI level for the next 30 moves or so. If he does do that, he will keep the center group under trouble. He'll keep the corner group as the appropriate sumego. It would be an incredible feat. And eventually, once the fighting settles, it could be possible to head into an endgame, black still having an advantage. You would have to play some of the best Go that's ever been played in human history for the next fight here. But it's possible. It's still possible for black to win. If white connects, is the corner unconditionally dead? So if white connects, white needs another move to try to kill it. And then after that, when white plays like the monkey jump, something like that, black can play, if it's the monkey jump, black can play on top. Hane here. Let's see, is that going to be killable? That's probably going to be dead, but it definitely has a lot to do with how counterattackable this white group is. If this white group ends up being counterattackable, we could see black ending up making a ko, something like that in the corner. Certainly the corner is not going to be very cleanly dead, even after black spends 1 extra move, or after white spends 1 extra move after connecting. Black doesn't do it, so black plays this way instead. This is interesting. What this means is white can connect here, black can connect underneath. White does not get the second line move in Sente. And when white doesn't get the second line move in Sente, white cannot churn and cut in this direction, because without the second line move, you can't cover your cutting points. But this is not the variation which AI suggested, even though it does seem to work. It seeds so, like, in this variation, white just reduced all the corner territory for free. It's really sad. But it could continue to be okay. Oh my god, we have white continuing. Oh, never mind. White actually accentuates the deal. So that's interesting. That actually makes this... So now the black group in the corner is even a less clear sumego. And black presumably will come back to cuts and like emphasize on the center. Oh, interesting. I didn't even think about the fact that white could choose not to connect back. So if white had connected back, that would have been the best. But white can descend instead. The descend is intending on still getting the second line Sente. Ah, and black is going to cut and give white the second line Sente. So this cut means white can still block here, still aim at the cut on the left side and at the attack on these 5 stones. So this is a slightly bad exchange, apparently, according to my local KataGo here. Because, yeah, black doesn't really want to continue and actually save these 5 stones and give up the other 5 stones. That would be kind of bad. But it's so difficult to hold everything together here. No matter what route you look down, there's somebody stopping you, you know? The only way is to have the imagination to make a new route. That's the only way that the AI beats AI, right? Like the AI can counter these fights. Okay, he goes for the cut in the center when White tries to get the second line move in Sente. This is the blue move, the blue way to play, the best AI approved way to play. Where, yeah, that's that white group in the center is not a clean life, not at all clean. If black could kill it all cleanly, then black is gonna win the game, but it's not gonna happen. It's AI. If it's just life and death reading, AI may not be that much better than the best human players. It's much better in judgment. So that's true of surrounded life and death reading. If it has to do with unsurrounded groups, which is basically this white group, if it's a life and death that has to do with the surroundedness at the same time, Shinjinso doesn't have enough practice doing Sumego that are wide like this, that are fresh like this. Because if you do this as a Sumego, it sucks. It's an ass Sumego. It's low quality. It doesn't teach you very much. So you have to just play a lot of games, and AI has played more games against itself than Shinjinso to train this skill. You have ballpark for how many playouts it's crunching per move. It's unknown, I think. They didn't tell you, but since it has pondering on, you can assume that it is way too many playouts. This is, I can tell you that like the once you start getting into like a million playout KataGo, which is what it probably is going to be on every move here, the difference between KataGo and another KataGo is like another KataGo with slightly more playouts is not much. It's a point, 2 points throughout the whole game. How good would Shinjinso be if you played as many games as KataGo has? That's a great question. It depends on how many games KataGo has played, which is also a great question. I mean, the problem with understanding how many games KataGo has played is that you only accept new KataGo versions, which actually got stronger, even when they trained. Like they train, they play a lot, but then you only accept the new ones, which are noticeably stronger. So you can't really count all the training games that KataGo has ever played. Maybe only all the KataGo training games that have been incorporated into the next KataGo. Even that is kind of a stat, which is a little hard to count. How good would Shinjinso be if you played? I don't even know what a good ballpark is. Oh, KataGo always accepts a new training. It doesn't test whether the next model is stronger or not. Thank you for the clarification on that. I didn't know. So then I guess you probably could try to count how much training it had done. The testing process was something from the AlphaGo 0 pipeline that turned out to be unnecessary. The fluctuations between models add variety to the self-play learning anyways. Interesting. So the testing process I was describing was involved in the AlphaGo 0 then. I'm not a particularly apt like machine learning expert. I don't know all the details of what the different models are doing. They maintain a current best model, which may not be the most recent. Yes, that's true. So like the KataGo that you're sort of recommended to download is not the most recent KataGo usually. It's the like most recent good KataGo, best KataGo. The original DeepMind publications had a step where you test a model to make sure it's stronger before accepting it for self-play. Aha, so that's where I got the idea from. Okay, but KataGo does not do that anymore. Okay, interesting. Anyway, online they say they have 95 million games in the distributed training games. That's interesting. Of course, you guys can also set up your computer to participate in distributed KataGo training. It's actually not that hard if you're interested. It does not. You can't just like play KataGo against itself. You do have to like intentionally try to do this, set this up. But if you do, you can join in, help train KataGo to become even better and beat, defeat Jinseo even stronger. Yeah, we are 100 moves in, and KataGo has indeed gotten a significant advantage. This is making me feel better and relatable to Shin Jinseo. Like watching someone get tortured live. I don't know if it's that extreme. He is making 32 grand, no matter whether he wins or loses. That is true. But yeah, 100 million training games for KataGo sounds about reasonable. So then the question is, how good would Shin Jinseo be if he had played 100 million games of Go? And you can say in his first, you really don't know how many games he's even played. And do Sumego count as games, right? Like KataGo didn't get to do any Sumego. At least it didn't do any to get better. If you count single Sumego as like one KataGo game, which usually I think the KataGo self-play games, if it learns like from one Sumego and it judges the Sumego better, it's Shin Jinseo always had something or someone stronger to fall back on. That's not necessarily true, right? I mean, before Shin Jinseo got good before AI came out, and of course he could say that his teachers were stronger, like the other strongest Korean players were stronger, but not by so much. Across all time, 1,400 distinct users have uploaded 95.5 million training games and 2 million rating games. The rating games are to determine whether your trained network is now better or worse than the previous network. And you have the approximate ELO ratings graph underneath, which is fun. Does the adversarial method not work against AI anymore? So the adversarial method is where you realize that the AI will always beat you, and you set up this like weird ring group that would normally never exist in gameplay, and the AI would not be alert to the fact that it was running out of liberties within your ring group, because your ring group is supposed to be dead, and it just sort of assumed that it would die. Not player says that's long since been patched. I don't really know how that's patched. Like, KataGo gets a little bit of extra information beyond just this is where the stones are. So, for example, it gets Komi, it gets the rule set, and you can tell it, hey, you're the stronger player, you have this many more playouts than your other KataGo. Like, there's various sources of extra information. I don't know whether to like stop the adversarial method, they gave KataGo another source of information that like tells it about ring groups, or whether it just sort of was trained against that. I'm actually kind of curious. They added training games with the ring groups. Is that how they did it? No sources of information, just train on a lot of games with the cycle shapes. Okay. Yeah, that's the most elegant way to do it. I like that. It doesn't patch 100%, but yeah, probably still. It's not that good. How your so my KataGo currently says that the game is favored for black by 3 points. So still Shin Jinseo has a chance, but he has to play it really, really precisely from here. You start with the cycle shapes on the board and have KataGo play itself to become familiar with the cycle shapes. Yeah, that's good. That's a nice method, actually. It's very, very elegant. So yeah, the adversarial method is maybe it could still work if you found a new adversarial method, like if you found a different type of vulnerability in KataGo that it hasn't trained yet. You could probably still find something for that. And there's also some really highly complicated Joseki, which if you got KataGo to do exactly the variation that you wanted, it can make a mistake or two. But this is like, it's very, very hard to be adversarial to KataGo. You just have to be like better than it at the specific things. The cycle group stuff still has vulnerabilities, but it's only very large or very particular rings. If you just try it at random now, the model knows how to deal with it. The reason why the model doesn't get arbitrarily good at it is because they still don't occur naturally in games, unlike, for example, normal capture races. Yeah. That means it only ever sees the variety of shapes that you provide in the starting positions. Yeah, it's only going to see the shapes that can actually happen in games played by AI level players. Is the old model of sensei or go teacher over for the pros? Certainly not. No, the pros are still teaching each other. They're still senseis to each other. For example, the class that I'm in with Dang Yifei, yeah, that class is also like attended by and co-hosted by Li He, who's one of the strongest female players in the world. It's not like that's a sensei relationship, but you can apparently, according to the people who speak Chinese, sort of tell that the way that they're speaking about Go is chatting with each other to teach each other, um not something like we're presenting to the students. The pros are all teaching each other in China, at least the ones that like each other. So pros absolutely could still have sensei or go teacher relationships with other pros. It's not just like, oh, the AI will tell me the right answer, so I don't trust you anymore. They still try to teach each other and be human about it. Excuse me. In normal capture races, self-play produces an endless variety, so there's no cap on how much the model eventually learns, and over time, gradually, all the blind spots can get fixed. But for cycle groups, there's still blind spots that exist and never get fixed because you don't get the endless variety from self-play. Yeah, so like 95 million games is honestly not that endless. There are some absolutely obscure, insane, crazy types of capture races that you're not going to get that often. Like there are capture races that involve quadruple codes. There are capture races that involve some really maniacal stuff. Some Under the Stones capture races that end up being Eternal Life. Shinjinso spent a bit over 12 minutes on this move. This is the moment, by the way, where for Shinjinso's plan to work, he has to execute and actually kill these center stones. So you guys were mentioning Shinjinso is actually not that much worse than KataGo in a life and death. So he spent 12 minutes and he tried to actually solve the life and death and play this one. If all white dies underneath this black stone, which is presumably what he's hoping for, it would be crazy. Yeah, artificially constructed capture races, you can find a lot of blind spots. That's definitely true. And there's even sometimes there's going to be real game positions which are so ungodly that that KataGo will mess up. It happens. There's a video I remember on my Telesumego of one of these, which is just an absolutely obscene real game real game position. Where do I have? Let's see. Yeah, this one. This is the most ungodly, absolutely messed up real game position where KataGo did not understand what was happening. And like even when I show it the Tetsuji, I move back a move or two, it still doesn't have the right judgment because it just doesn't understand what the heck is happening. That does happen even for real games still, but it's so vanishingly rare. It's these are the types of things which are slowly trained out and which you can help train out by joining in and training KataGo yourself. The more experience it gets, the better it gets at this kind of thing. The TV broadcast says it's black by 0.5 now is the moment of truth. So it's only black by 0.5 if he actually cannot kill this group. So KataGo is going to show us how to do some magic here in the center. This is the type of position which most human pros playing as Shin Jinseo would think they are losing. Because this white group does not look easy to save. I do not know how we're planning to save it. We're going to have to see. Yeah, and in the graph here, you can see that the elo, the approximate elo, given equal time rather than equal visits, it still has the 40 block as the maximum. Where's the 60 block? The 60 block is rather low. They have only one data point. With the 40 block KataGo, they have as the strongest, and then the 20 block KataGo is being trained the most. Maybe it's I don't know what the x-axis actually is on this. OG. It happens more than you think. Roughly every few pro games, you can find a blind spot in some side variation where there's a miseval or something minor. Yeah, so KataGo will have these like minor hiccups. And actually, I think the better you are as a player, the more often you can find minor KataGo hiccups. So if it's just like if you're just trying to find a situation where KataGo will make a misevaluation or something, it's actually not that hard to hunt that down in most pro games. However, or something where like the policy net assigns a low probability to the move that's actually the best. Like these kinds of things happen. However, the moments where KataGo is actually blundering and like significantly and losing the game are rare, especially the moments where it's losing the game even after it's like even after you show it. Those moments where KataGo actually just does not understand what the hell is going on. Those are the vanishingly rare ones, but they do still exist, even in relatively realistic capture races. Anyway, it's still a monstrously strong Go playing existence, as you can see. We have here, by the way, KataGo trying to save this group, starting in an interesting way. It connected here. I thought we were going to do something very loose, but the connection here means we're actually going to do something very counter-aggressive. So Shin Jinseo covers it directly, saying, hey, I'm going to be able to link up to that. You can't really counterattack this stuff. And then KataGo says, stop me. And Shin Jinseo is like, well, now you don't have very much space, and you still can't counterattack this stuff that hard. Like, how are you going to cut through and break me? And KataGo counterattacks the counterattack, the peep. Black connects on the outside. Aha! So what we're going to see here is KataGo is going to exploit the very minor thinness that Black has here. Use this peep. So KataGo is going to try to go after this stone, go after the cut here, and the premise is, finally, if KataGo gets to protect this cut in Sente, it's likely that it will be able to make two eyes in this area. Like we're getting closer and closer to this having a very, very nice two eye shape, two eye space. Oh man. Jinseo just sort of has to play this out, despite knowing, like, if KataGo plays here, KataGo knows. So there's no way KataGo is the one who's wrong. So he knows there's going to be something, but he doesn't know what it is yet. I don't know what it is yet. He just sort of has to play it out. There's nothing else he can do. Just keep on trying to press that it actually can die, that it can. And I mean, it should be able to die, like, but it looks like the KataGo they're running on the TV show believes that White is leading by half a point right now. It thinks that White is going to be okay. Oh man, it seems like Shin Jinseo may have lost, but there's nothing that he could have done differently at this point. It's just you have to go for it. The push here, which just blocks. This is difficult. This is difficult. The rules say no resigning allowed. Are you sure? I feel like you gotta allow Shin Jinseo to resign if he's down by like 20 points. Like, Shin needs to be down by more than 30 for resign. Is that really the rule? He needs to be down by more than 30 points, or like percentage. Like he needs to be down 80 to 20% according to KataGo. If they're really gonna make Shin Jinseo lose by more than 30 points, you might as well just like play the 30 points. What? But he has no incentive anymore. Like once he realizes he's behind, he has no incentive to try to keep the game close. He can just pass. That's why it's like watching live torture. It's like that is a weird rule. People just want to see, but like Shin Jinseo isn't playing this game with the intent of losing to AI by as small as possible. He's playing this game to try to win. He invested. He tried to fight, right? Like if he was trying to lose the game by as small as possible, he would never have played boom, 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 cut, go after you, and make the big trading, and then cut, and then go after the center group and try to kill the center group. And if the center group dies, it's great. And if it doesn't die, then I lose. You would never play like this if the goal was, actually, I only want to lose by 2 points. This is hard investment, hard go for it. This is crazy. Crazy that they're going to make him play it out, even if it's obviously lost. The end. Wow. Okay. I guess you weren't kidding. This is a match which is yeah, a match which is anti-human, aggressively against Shin Jinseo in the rules, against Shin Jinseo's comfort at least. Play A1 during critical life and death. But the thing is, KataGo, if they tuned it to have the flexible PDA value, which is where like they could have told it, hey, you have a playout doubling advantage. Sometimes they have KataGo readjust its playout doubling advantage dependent on its how far ahead it is. So like once it thinks it's ahead, it will start thinking, I'm the weaker player, I have less playouts than my opposing KataGo. And it starts playing defensive. So it's possible that we're gonna have KataGo trolling Shin Jinseo, where KataGo is like, oh, I have to make sure I play patient here and only win by 1.5 points because otherwise I'm too nervous. I'm gonna make a misread and get crushed by my stronger KataGo that doesn't actually exist and it's actually Shin Jinseo. On the other hand, if they don't have the flexible playout doubling advantage, then we'll have the arrogant KataGo continue to try to play while beating Shin Jinseo. It also seems kind of a bit of a mess. I don't know what the arrogant KataGo does. I guess the arrogant KataGo is pretty likely to try to get a massive win. $30 points is more for the AI to stop the game than for Shin. So if KataGo gets a 30-point lead, then KataGo will force Jinseo to resign. Is that it? I don't think that's a good rule either. Or if KataGo ends up 30 points behind and KataGo will resign, if KataGo judges itself to have lost the fight and completely been destroyed by Jinseo, it resigns at 30 points. That would make sense. That would be a reasonable rule if they said like, hey, KataGo, if you think you're 30 points behind after starting only 18 points behind, please resign. But in actual practice, I'm not exactly sure how the points work. But in actual practice, sometimes you would get a more winning position than 18 points one, which is 18 points behind one, which is 30 points behind, because you have a significant chance of being ahead and a very significant chance of being 100 points behind. So you could end up with a 30 points behind sort of clouded judgment. And if KataGo had to resign such a game, it would be pretty bad. Is there a site for the rules you're seeing on an official organizer page? I don't know. These people in the Twitch chat are just making up rules. I would love to to know some of the rules. um KataGo's win function is something like 1,000 points if I win, plus how much I win, and the reverse if I lose. So it optimizes for certainty first and score only when variations are equally likely to win. Yes, you can post links. I will repost them if they get blocked, which they shouldn't. I thought that KataGo does not care about points at all when it plays. I think that the KataGo points measurement is just for us. Like KataGo is making the win rate judgments and is picking the highest win rate move, and you can tell it stuff about like play at doubling advantage, and you can tell it ways to play a little differently, but it's still only going to care about win rate when it plays. It doesn't really care about points itself, I thought. And its win function is it does care about points, and it doesn't have the habit of winning by only half a point. You need to add the points you need to add the points so you don't get the half point trolling, but the main score is win or lose. So what you're talking about is that like it gets it gets 1,000 points if I'm winning, and then an additional point or two per point or something like that. I should actually look up the papers here they've got posted on the training sheet, but the problem is there's a lot to learn. It's difficult. the default utilities settings are +1 or -1 for winning, as you'd normally expect, plus 0.4 times a smooth function of the score that stretches up to 15 to 30-ish points to get to roughly 1 or -1. So you for KataGo, the maximum score would be to get to like +1 I'm winning, plus an additional 0.4 I'm winning a lot. But it could be 1 plus 0.2 I'm winning a little bit, and then you have the function of the score, which I guess you could change. And we have a link for the general info on the tournament. Thank you for that. And so that default utility settings, I presume the +1 or -1 for winning is actually just like multiplied by the win rate. So you have like a 1.0 weight on the win rate, whatever that is, and then a 0.4 weight on a function on the points. That's my interpretation here. One benefit of the reward function is that it will play handicap better because it will try to grind it down. as we're seeing here, even the higher handicap, it plays a bit better for sure. Jinseo in the press conference before said, "At first, I thought succeeding with even just one win from the opening in some kind of trick would be an achievement. But after some repeated preparation, he wants to challenge not just 2 wins but 3 wins. He wants a clean sweep. That's his goal for this." He added, "In matches against AI, a single small mistake can be fatal." That's what we saw in this game. Basically, in this game, because he didn't push through and make the complicated fighting on the top side, he lost. He like that was the single small mistake, which was fatal. Rather than recklessly engaging in fights, I will minimize mistakes as much as possible and try to create a flow that carries the game to the end in my own style. Ultimately, how well I respond to KataGo's mid-game play will be the biggest battleground, as it was. The score component is smooth and asymptotes, so it never stops increasing, decreasing, but roughly the spread is i.e. as you go to more extreme points, it gradually just gets closer and closer to -1 or 1. Yeah, so I've noticed when I play on Fox against people who cheat using an AI, then often what happens is that they play perfectly until they're about 20 points, 25, 30 points ahead, and then they play a little less perfectly. So I do think that KataGo, at least the KataGo equivalent that my opponents on Fox are cheating with, probably does not challenge that hard to gain more points once it's about 20 points ahead. It stops caring quite as much, which is fair enough. Once it's 20 points ahead, it's not gonna it doesn't matter. It's not gonna lose those games. It doesn't really mean anything. It's kind of a stupid form of experience since I can't even verify that these are KataGo that I'm playing against, but what is Black's best endgame reduction approach to the bottom right? Do the lines from P13 endanger the corner too much? So, yeah, I think that Black probably doesn't care as much about that as the center Sumego. I honestly can't solve the center Sumego. What the heck just happened? I'm lagging, sorry. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm trying to work my computer back to life. A little internet hiccups here. Organizers built a dedicated system to for this match. To exceed the performance of the latest high-end graphics card RTX 5090, they linked 4 RTX 3090 graphics cards in parallel to secure a massive total of 96 gigs. Can you believe that? Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Gosh. Oh my god, man. Please, computer. I actually think it's the website that I opened with the Jinseo commentary, because my KataGo is not really doing anything. I'm gonna close it. And yeah, I would like to close this. Oh my god, man. I'm actually lagging so hard. Close this stupid website, man. Please. No. Stop. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Stupid. Close.